Welcome, superstar. In this video, I'm going to share with you how I open my retreats and how you can set a powerful container to start your own retreats off. If you're like me and you are running retreats and you want to run powerful experiences for people to really get what they come for, have some sort of breakthrough, develop themselves, wake up, change something in their lives, then you need to have a powerful opening frame or a pre-frame is what I like to call it. I do a 3-day retreat, and in my retreat, we're doing visioning for business. We're creating a new business strategy with a new business model, pricing packages, all that stuff. And so when people come in, I want to set that frame to help them open up to possibility and also be ready to make decisions and be focused and present. So there's a lot of things that I need to do in the very beginning to get everybody on the same page, to get everybody in the, agreeing to the same guidelines to create a powerful quote unquote container being the structure of the weekend within which we will contain the work that we're going to do together. So in this video, I want to share with you how I do that. I'm going to walk you through all of the elements of my pre-frame so that you can see how I do it, but also get ideas for how you might want to open your retreats. Okay, so let's say it's day 1 of my 3-day retreat. I've got people, some of them are strangers to each other, coming in for the first time. They all have paid a significant amount of money to be there, to spend 3 days together, crafting their new model, crafting their offerings, their price points, and doing all sorts of work together. So my goal is to have everyone feel good during the weekend. I want people to be excited. I want them to have great ideas. And I also want to address things that may come up that get in their way. So it's a lot of things I'm trying to manage. I'm trying to manage a lot of personalities. I've got a team there. I've got, we're spending 9 hours together. I don't know, 9 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. That's a lot. It's more than 9 hours. That in this room together for 3 days. So there's a lot of things to handle and deal with. So the way I do that is I walk through this initial frame. It takes an hour and a half for me to go through my initial pre-frame of my retreat. That's the first hour and a half out of 15 sessions that I do over the course of the weekend. So this whole first hour and a half is dedicated to setting the container. The first thing I do is I obviously, once it's time to start, people are, even before I set the container, people are walking into the room and we've got music going. There's a nice vibe. We've got flowers up. We've got signs on the walls. We have gifts on the tables for everybody. So people walk into a beautiful room. Usually the place that we host our retreats is in Miami. So there's, view of the bay. We're in Coconut Grove. It's just a really nice vibe before we even start. So that's part of setting the frame, setting the container. So now they come in, they register, they go sit down at their desk or at their table. They have a table and a chair. The gifts are set up for them on the table. So they have a little flower pot. They've got a water bottle. They've got a gift card for Starbucks in case they want to get coffee. There's all these gifts available to them. And then when we get started, I call them all to attention and welcome them. Even before I do that is I get myself into state. So before I even come down and before I get ready, I get myself into a state of generosity, love, compassion, contribution. I get ready, I build up my energy, and I get excited so that when I open up the container and I welcome them, they can feel my energy. So that's the first most important thing. Welcome. And I like to say, welcome to the first day of the rest of your life, because everything after this may change. That's my intention. And I make a promise. So after welcoming people, you may want to make some sort of promise that's future paced. So it's in the future about how this is going to go and how they're going to be on the other side of this experience. And what you're doing here is you're building excitement and having them lean in to the experience so that they're curious, they want to have it, they're pulling it closer to them. The next thing I do is I right off the bat get into a little bit of the housekeeping and some of the things that's just kind of logistics to get out of the way. So I talk about schedules, times, breaks, rules of engagement. as it relates to being in the room, leaving the room, coming back, being on time, things like that. Next, I get into some of the rules around things that I've experienced in the past that I want to avoid. So for example, you might want to talk about any legalese, like are you filming? Do you need to get video releases from people? Are you taking pictures? What happens in this room stays in this room, something around privacy you might want to consider. And I always include something about my intellectual property because I've had the experience of people taking my workbook and then duplicating it or stealing pages from it or repurposing it, and that's not okay. So I speak to it, and it's also in later on when I give away my workbook, it's in there as well. Now, before I keep going, I'd like to invite you to like this video, subscribe to my channel, maybe even post a comment below and let me know if this is helpful for you. Another rule I like to always share is that there be no selling in my retreats. I've had the experience of doing my retreats, and as some of you may know, if you've watched my other videos, this is my opportunity to deliver value and also to enroll people into my one-year program. So I want to make sure that the only offer that people are hearing that weekend is my own. So I do make a rule that people are not to sell in the room. They're welcome to do business together and set meetings for afterwards, but in this space, there's to be no selling or soliciting. Then I like to have everyone set intentions. I don't want to just be up the front of the room talking the whole time. I'd like to make it engaging and interactive. So pretty early on in the welcome process in the pre-frame, I invite everyone to share their intentions and to sometimes to introduce themselves. I like to also do introductions ahead of the retreat on a Zoom call to get those out of the way. Or sometimes we'll just do the introductions right there at the retreat. But there's an opportunity for people to just say, I'm here for this, I'm here to get this, this is what I came for. And then I also have my team record what people are saying, like write it down, so that we make sure that we help them get exactly what they came for. And from that, when people have shared their intentions, I like to pull through the common thread. So everyone is here to evolve into the next phase of their business. Everyone's here to step into a new vision. Everyone's here to find that new version of their marketing that's going to help them get to the next level. So I highlight any of the common themes that I'm seeing. Then I remind them of the specific outcomes that we are going to deliver, that I am going to create with them in the room. So getting them excited about the specific things that we're going to work on so that they remember why they signed up for this. And then I like to share a little overview of how we roll, how the sessions go, how I've structured it. In my case, I like to do a little bit of content, a lot of conversation, some hot seats, some examples, some personal time, and then some integration with hands-on support with me and with my team. So I explain exactly how that looks. And you might want to do that just to set people's mind at ease. Like, this is how we do it. This is how the sessions are going to go. You know, everybody will have an opportunity to ask questions at this point. You know, just letting them know how you're going to lead the retreat. One thing I recommend including at the beginning of a retreat is a little bit of a statement about being abundant in time. It can feel sometimes like you have so much to cover. How are you ever going to get it all done? And if you feel that way, then I'm guarantee you that your clients feel that way. And that's going to create a feeling of scarcity in the room around time. So you want to personally tap into feelings of abundance around time and also express that to the clients. Like, hey, we are abundant in time. I've mapped this out. I know exactly what we're going to need to do and the time that I've allotted to do it. And I've left some room for magic and for things that are unknown that are going to pop up. So don't worry, there's plenty of time to get everything done that you came for. I think that's a really important thing in order to create the energetic of abundance around time in the retreat. This is a good time to do your support intro. So if you have a team there, like to introduce and play up your team and all their gifts. And then I like to introduce any materials like a workbook at this point individually, instead of just putting it on the seat or on the desk so that it's there and people start flipping through it. I like to make a big reveal of my workbook, and actually I call it a playbook. And so my playbook is kind of a big deal, and I like to hand it out and have everybody ooh and ah over it and flip through it together because it creates kind of I think a more elevated experience of it. And then this is kind of the meat of the pre-frame. Number one is, here's what I'm promising you and here's what it's going to take from you. Here are the agreements and what I'm expecting from you to support us getting this outcome. It's not on me. So in this part of the pre-frame, I'm talking about how we both are contributing. It's not just me doing the thing to them, but it's them also doing it with us. So I lay out all the agreements around that, like, this is your responsibility, show up on time. This is how I expect you to show up positive. So everything around sort of like, this is how we do this experience, right? So I talk about things like showing up in learning mode instead of in knowing mode. I talk about making decisions on site, even if they're not perfect. I talk about embracing the unknown, dancing in the possibility. And then I get into the watch outs and some of the challenges and obstacles that often pop up for people in the room so that we can address them up front and we can recognize them when they pop up. And finally, I like to end with a little about rolling with the punches. There's always some unknown. A fire alarm might go off, the coffee might be bad, or somebody lost a ring, or whatever might come up and disrupt the experience. I talk about taking on the attitude of like rolling with it. And so I even use the hand signal. I'm like, all right, everybody do it with me, roll with it. And everybody's like, we're rolling with it. And then whenever the thing pops up over the weekend and I forget, somebody in the room invariably says, Michelle, remember, just roll with it. And it's awesome. I've just enrolled them in rolling with it, and they've enrolled me right back in it. So I basically recruit them into becoming leaders of the experience alongside me instead of being participants that I do the experience to them. So that's my advice for how to open your retreat. If you are looking to have a retreat business, if you want to turn your retreats and masterminds into money makers and also have more joy and freedom or passion and love for what you do, let's connect. You can find out more about my programs and services at superstaractivator.com/go.